would be safe to say, chums, that in fact the former royal known as Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has had something of a bit of a rough time ever since she launched that cooking show at the start of this month, you know. And when you look at the stats, it's incredible, because they're very bad. I mean, you know, whichever way you look at it. And I'm not saying that out of unkindness or whatever. That sort of profile and those sort of ratings are not successful. And the problem is, it's a sort of what they described as sort of hate watch. I don't like that expression, but it's a hate watch. I would say, well, not many people are really doing that. There's too many clips. I think people made too much decision in advance, and it really isn't a cooking show. It's a love fest about Meghan Markle. You know, you've got to praise her. She's terrific. Sprinkle edible flowers and everything. And then that's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's almost a comedy. And here lies now the problem that Netflix want her to go under to promote season 2, as she calls it, even though it's not really season 2 at all. Let me explain. Hi, good to see you. You're all right. Thank you so much for joining me in the sun today. Lovely to have your company. And as ever, thank you for taking the time out. Season 2 looms. Yes. Netflix very unhappy, but happy with the publicity. They can afford to waste that sort of money because you are paying for it, you know, essentially. That's the gig. If you are subscribing to Netflix, then you are, you know, putting in the coffers. And if they make a bad marketing decision, you couldn't buy the marketing that Meghan Markle has delivered to Netflix, good or bad. People are aware of the streaming giant. They outstrip everything from Hulu, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. You know, everybody knows Netflix. And in part, that's to do with her disasters. And they are disastrous. Heart of Invictus and then, you know, whatever. And you come away and you say to yourself, well, what would you do? One of the things that Meghan's team, along with Netflix, wanted to do is embrace the funny. Now, I don't know about you, but I realise that Meghan Markle does not have a sense of humour. And it's very fake. You can see that even in that fake shoot for the Variety magazine where she pretends to be giggling. She's not that good an actress, you know. But what's happened, and which has been very successful behind the scenes of the show of Cooking with Meghan or With Love Meghan, is the fact that so many comedians have mocked the show. The parodies, the ones that are online, you know, and some are incredibly, wickedly funny. You know, whether you like Meghan or dislike Meghan, you can't get away from the detail that some of them have done. And this is because it's sort of absurd. There's Meghan calling it Sweet Pea Sunday, and what's this about, you know? Whoever's advising her, it's just bad at every single level. So according to that very well-placed source, basically, Netflix thinks she should embrace this in her social media posts. So much so, she should highlight some of the memes, as they call them, the parodies, you know, that we would call them, and say, well, this made me laugh, or, you know, this is funny, or it's a bit cruel. Don't think you've got the hair right, but the makeup looks good. You know, play along with the joke. Now, according to the source, when they brought this up, can you imagine? When they brought this up tentatively in the meeting and said, you know, we think this is a good idea, this did not go down well, as you can imagine. But it would go down well because it would break the ice. And actually, when you mock people who are mocking you with the comedy, it takes the sting out the tail, doesn't it? That's the thing. People then go, oh, okay, you know, and then you're kind of seen as human, as connectable, you know, relatable. These are all the things that Meghan has been accused of not being. You get the picture. But for now, and this is a serious problem for Meghan, because once the bosses at Netflix want you to do something, they are your paymaster. You might think you can be friends with the boss of Paramount or, you know, the wife of Paramount. They don't have the books that Netflix have got. You need the books to keep the business going. That's how this works. So consequently, if Meghan doesn't really want to push down this route and be able to have fun, smile, laugh at herself, maybe even filming herself with Harry and her on a sofa, looking at them on an iPad, that would be my advice to make sure it takes the sting out the tail and prove to the rest of the world that, in fact, you've got a sense of humour. But do we see her doing this? She just might have to if she wants the money. As ever, Neil Sean in the very heart of London.